Good evening and welcome to another edition of the Press Box. Brian Carson here with my co-host Kenny Varner. How you doing, Kenny?
Oh, not bad, not bad. Finally got a day with no rain. How about that?
There we go. And
Yeah.
tonight our guest needs no introduction, but I'm going to give him one anyway. One of the greatest wrestlers ever to come out of Mifflin County,
Mhm.
Nic Bedelyon. Nick at Indian Valley, 123 wins. That's the all-time wins leader in IV history. He was a three-time district champ, two-time Northwest regional champ, three-time state place winner, including runner-up his senior year. We will not bring that up tonight, runner-up. Even though it was
No.
a legitimate tough loss. Do you know who he lost to, Kenny?
Who's that?
Jordan Oliver,
Oh,
Oklahoma
Doing all
State
right. Yep.
national championship champion. I mean, not an embarrassing loss at all.
not at
Then he
all.
goes to
No.
Kent State, four-time NCAA qualifier, two-time All-American, sixth and eighth, two-time MAC champ, four-time MAC finalist, 113 career wins, long-time assistant coach at Ryder, Nic Bedelyon. Nick, thank you for coming on.
Yes,
No,
thanks, Nick.
I appreciate you guys having me on the show. Wow, those when you reading off those accomplishments brought back a lot of memories.
I'm bad, and
Yeah.
I am thrilled that you're here. I wanted to interview you for a long time,
Yeah.
and now I get a chance to do it.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Right? Like I said, I appreciate it. I'm actually in West Palm Beach, Florida right now, visiting family. So the kids are getting ready for bed, so I got to get some free time here and come out and talk with you guys.
Nice.
Awesome. So, how long have you been at Ryder?
So I just finished 13 years.
Wow.
I was the assistant coach for about 8 years. Now I'm the associate head coach at Ryder the past 5-6 years. So I've been there a long time, and it's been a lot of fun, and it's been a really good time for my family and I. We have two kids now living in New Jersey, 6 and 4. So we love it.
Awesome. Let's talk about one of the reasons you're on the Bedelyon trained day camp, which will
Yep.
be at Mifflin County, the Regional Training Center. That's out in Electric Avenue.
Yep.
And it is January 12th from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Who do you have with you, my friend, to help you coach this, or is this just you?
Now I'm doing it by myself, but one of my best friends, Trent Russler from Lewistown, he has kids going through the Mifflin County elementary program, and he's doing a great job of building. He's got 20 kids coming to the practices in the summertime and training, and he's really building the youth. And that's where it starts out at, right? My brother helps
Right.
out at the high school, and but you got to build the youth and get kids interested in a sport like wrestling. It's one of the toughest sports around, and he does a great job along with a lot of others building the youth wrestling. And I'm excited to come back and give back to the youth. And for me, it was doing these camps growing up is how I got connected to college coaches to wrestle at the Division I level. And there's the Hidley brothers going through Mifflin County. These kids look up to. They're closer in age, and seeing what they do at the Division I level, that gets these young kids and parents excited for the opportunity, right?
Absolutely. But
Definitely.
the Hidleys did, what they've accomplished, and Trent especially has brought a lot of attention. But we've had a lot of great wrestlers come out of the Mifflin County.
Yeah,
I think more than people realize. You're one of them,
yeah.
and we have a rich tradition, don't we?
Yeah, that's why building this youth is so important for the next group of young kids that come out. Yeah, like what Trent and Hayden did. My brother got to coach I don't know if he got to coach Hayden, but he got to coach Trent. And, I remember as going through the high school program, those guys coming to, matches. And back in that time, the Indian Valley Lewistown match, Friday night was sold out. And it was it was a cool and great environment and atmosphere. And, looking back for those kids to see that now today, it's combined. And back in my time, who knows how we would have been. I think we would have been a top three team in the state easily with a combined, Lewistown and Indian Valley.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I know Trent told me many times the influence that your brother Tyler has had on him.
Yeah, they're really close, and I know that means a lot to my brother. And my brother, him and I are very passionate people, and doing what we get to do, what we love every day. Be around the best sport to us, and help kids achieve their goals, and to us that's a lot. That's everything. For us to give back to help these kids. And I know Trent to this day, I think he did the ESPN broadcast this year.
Yeah.
At NCAAs in Philly. And he was, someone sent me a clip, one of my guys. It was during one of my, we had an All-American this year, Sammy Alvarez, at 149. And Trent was broadcasting and talking about, me being from Mifflin County and the influence my brother had on him in his wrestling career. And to me, that was special.
Yes, it definitely was.
Awesome.
Yeah. I got worried because I broadcasted. I'm like, oh shit, if he wants it, he's going to get my job, man.
Yeah. Trent does a great job, and Hayden.
Yes, he does.
They're a great family, mom and dad, brother, sister, a great family from Mifflin County. And yeah, they made Mifflin County proud.
But let's get to you a minute. How did you, we'll get back to the camp, but what influenced you growing up? What got you into wrestling?
So for me, I was young, 4 years old. We started at the Indian Valley Elementary program. Doug Sheets was the head coach, and my dad, he claims he wrestled. He was a decent wrestler, maybe a district guy. But our first cousin, Joe Dalbert, was a state champ. That was my dad's mom and Joe's dad are brother and sister. So growing up, that was Joe was the state champ already at the time. So my dad, instilled wrestling in us at a young age and took us everywhere. He took us, tournaments every weekend, hotel rooms growing up as kids. And, for me, that was what I loved to do. You didn't have to convince me to go to a practice or go to this camp. I wanted to wrestle 24/7, and over time, as a young kid going through Indian Valley Elementary, it just became my identity of who I am. And 30 years later, I'm still, in the wrestling world. Now I get to do what I love every day,
Awesome.
As a Division I college wrestling coach. But yeah, the influence came from my dad and Joe Dalbert and Doug Sheets and having a group of friends growing up, doing the same thing and, traveling every weekend together was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, once it's in your blood, it never leaves. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, my brother and I, we used to we'd wrestle. We had a mat in our basement, and I can't tell you how many times one of us had to go get stitches or get into fights and make my mom crazy, with all the fighting and wrestling that we've done growing up. But we made each other, better and tougher, and we were best friends for an hour, fight for an hour, and that went on all day.
But
who was the better wrestler?
Oh, Nick.
Yeah, right. but having a brother, 18 months apart, and he was a bigger than me, so I was the older one, so I never lost, but he was bigger, and it made me tougher, right?
But hey, both Division I wrestlers.
both Division I
You at
wrestlers.
Kent
And
State, him at Clarion.
yeah, and we wrestled each other. My senior year, we wrestled Clarion, and my brother actually beat one of our better guys. It was the top 20 guy, and he beat him. So it was pretty cool. Both of us, my senior year
Yeah.
at Kenton, he was a sophomore at Clarion, for us to both go out with a win.
So the camp, you're limiting it to the first 40 wrestlers. Was that what you wanted? Did you want to make this group more small and focused?
Yeah, I just the rooming too. If you get too many kids in there, the mat space also was a concern. So we kind of set it. But if there was 45 to 50 kids wanting to come there, we would keep it open. Because
Right.
I'm all about the opportunity for this area to keep growing the wrestling and build a relationship, right, with these kids that, hey, you have a guy in your area that coaches at the Division I level. I currently, at this moment right now today, coached about 8 other guys coaching. I coached at Ryder that are now coaching at the Division I level, from Princeton to Maryland to Hofstra to Lock Haven to Drexel. So I have a good coaching tree with connections that these kids in 5 to 10 years, they're going to be getting recruited. And we start all this to be a state champ as a young kid, but I think the biggest thing is, the goal should be to compete at the next level, and that's Division I, Division II, or Division III. That should be the goal. And for me to be the first person in my family to get a bachelor's degree, was pretty special, and just as special as being a state runner-up, which to me, I was a sore loser, so I didn't look at that as an accomplishment. But the bigger picture is getting that education to better your life.
Yeah, I know good wrestlers don't like to finish second, but that's something. To be second in this state, as tough as it is,
Yeah,
shows you how good you were.
Yeah, and like you said, the guy that beat me was number 1 in the country, 3-time state champ, 2-time NCAA champ. So
Yeah.
I had a tough guy at the weight, but I remember coming home from Hershey and not wanting to get on the fire truck because I told Joe, who was my coach in high school, which is full circle, from the guy I looked up to the guy coaching me my senior year. I said, I don't want to get on that truck. And I'm glad I did, but it was a rough few months for me but that's what motivates you. Losing motivated me, and losing today still motivates me to be a better coach.
I think I know why you lost.
Yeah.
You were trying to read all his tattoos.
Yeah.
and you just got confused.
Yep. Well, my dad is currently, I think he's covered head to toe. So that never scared me, because I knew if my dad could have all those tattoos, he didn't really have to be such a tough guy.
No. Now, you cast the camp branded as Bedelyon trained, and I've seen at NCAAs your rider wrestlers had Bedelyon trained.
Yeah.
In the back. What are the core tenets of that philosophy? What makes a Bedelyon trained wrestler?
So it's funny. It started probably my first year at Ryder, second year maybe. I was working with one of the local kids in New Jersey, right by the university, and his dad was like, "I'm gonna buy you some shirts, some Nic Bedelyon trained shirts." And I was just working with his son at the time, also coaching at Ryder, and I think he ordered about 100 shirts, and they were the wrong material. And he was like, "No, we're getting the good material." So he ordered another 100 and said, "Just take those and you keep them and hand them out to your guys." And I had probably 200 T-shirts with the Nic Bedelyon train. So just over all the years, I would just hand them down to my guys, and it just became a hashtag or a thing. And in 2021, we had our first NCAA runner-up, and me and him were really close. I worked with him all the time, and I remember our compliance people at Ryder were like, when you walk out there, you have to wear Adidas Ryder. You've got to represent the brand. And I told him, hey, you can't wear that shirt anymore. And he said, nah, I'm wearing it. I don't care what they say. And, I was like, all right, well, I told you and I reported it to you. You didn't listen. So he wore the shirt out and, it just kind of stuck from there. I mean, he was in the NCAA finals with that shirt walking out. And
Yeah, I remember.
Nice.
I remember.
yeah,
Because I was freaking out. I'm going, oh my God, that's Nic.
yeah. He pinned the number 1 seed, Ryan Deacon from Northwestern, who at the time was undefeated and one of the best wrestlers in the country. And
Yes.
he had that shirt on, getting interviewed, and it was COVID year, so all the fans, there was only about 2,000 fans, so he had that shirt on, and I got so many people texting me, and proud and happy, and they thought it was really neat.
So,
So yeah, that's just been the backstory of that, and but for the idea of it is, my coaching philosophy is, working hard and doing the right things and teaching these kids, even at this level, it's basics, right? There's not many, all these fancy moves that you're hitting in Division I. It's, so it's kind of the basic landscape of the technique and, the work ethic and the mindset. I tell our college guys all the time, you get to this level, it's 90% mental. And, that's one thing I preach a lot by doing these camps in the area, if it's Mifflin County or if it's in New Jersey, or my wife's family's from Ohio. So I've been all around, this area and states, and I've done camps in Tennessee. And, the biggest thing is giving kids opportunities to, like I said, the goal is not to be a state champ. The goal is to wrestle at the next level. And you got guys like Trent, who just made a world team. That's the next level
Yeah.
after that, or you get into your, what you went to school for, or heck, maybe you get into college coaching like I did.
And you're going to have 3 distinct sessions going
Yep.
from 9 to 3:30. Is each session different, a different thing you're going to teach, or how is it structured?
Yeah, so the first 2, and for parents too, it's awesome that, hey, like I could take my kid for the day and get a little break maybe. I have 2 kids, so I know breaks are always a good thing to take your kids and drop them off from 9 to 3:30. But yeah, the first 2 sessions are going to be working on just technique, and then the final session will be kind of like a little more intense practice workout. And guys can ask questions, and they can. I always tell the guys to follow Ryder Wrestling on their Instagram. Social media is such an impact now in today's society. So talking about those things and academic parts of, wrestling at the next level are very important, and keeping your grades and listening to your parents and coaches, and, just getting out there and having an opportunity to be around the Division I college wrestling coach. I can't tell people enough how important that is to build a relationship at, an age like this. From 7 to 16, it goes quick.
Yeah, and do you feel with like I'm sure you do with what you've accomplished, you can give these kids the right frame of mind and technique and everything to get recruited, to be recruited Division I?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, for me as a wrestler, I never really talk about those accomplishments. So when you were reading them off, it was, it made me smile, because like, wow, you did all those things. For me, coaching, helping guys achieve their own goals and dreams is way more important to me. And that's what I'm built off right now. That's what keeps me going in this sport, is helping guys and giving back and helping young student athletes at Ryder achieve their goals of being a national champ or national qualifier or whatever their goals are. And that's why I'm into coaching the past 13 years. And, definitely in the system with one of my best friends is helping out with Mifflin County youth, and my brother's at the high school. So it's a whole feeding system that this could be a great opportunity to wrestle at the next level.
So, what do you see? Maybe there's more than one, but what do you see as a coach now? The most critical skill a young wrestler needs to develop in today's environment.
Number one is work ethic. For me, it's guys that are willing to put the work in and do the extra, like go to a camp at a young age, or I remember as a kid doing push-ups and pull-ups every night before bed, and those little things, you start young, they become a habit, right? After so many years and years of doing the little things right, and it really shows at the next level. Like for Rider Wrestling, we're blue collar. We're a blue collar team, guys that love to work out, love to be in the room, love to lift weights, love to go on runs. And the biggest thing is work ethic, in my opinion, for this next level of being a tough wrestler. You guys both know wrestling is a very tough sport, and it's the one-on-one. Yeah, I'm with you. I tell everyone it's the toughest sport, and my kid plays baseball and football, and I did the same thing as a kid, but it came to a point where I remember in baseball, we would lose and still go get ice cream, and I would be the only one in the ice cream line still mad because we lost, and I was like, I don't think baseball is for me. And wrestling, you lose, you get better, or you keep going doing the same things and get the same results, and the definition of insanity. But for me, it was, hey, if I want to be good, I got to put the work in, and
and I think
that's life now.
I think the other thing too, and I want to get your opinion on this, is because yes, you have coaches and mentors and that, but in other sports like football, baseball, you lose, it's the whole team. Wrestling is you and the other guy. That's it.
Yeah, and we tell our guys that, obviously for coaches, you got the team, the dual meet score and things like that, but we keep it simple. We tell every guy, hey, if we want to beat this team, we need all 10 guys to do their job, and focus on your job and your job only. And if you do your job, we'll get the team win. So yeah, we're, at the end of the day, you need the workout partners, and you see these kids winning. They all give the credit where credit's due. But at the end of the day, if it's a Friday, Saturday night, and your teammates are going out and you told them they shouldn't, and you stay in, that's on them, right?
Right.
Yep.
So, and that's life. It don't matter if your job or wherever you're at in your career. If you want to get more, you can complain and tell people, and most people don't care. So you work harder and get stuff done. It's real simple, blue collar mindset mentality.
For kids of a younger age, how important is it to start out with the proper mentality when you get them young like that?
I mean, my kid goes to kindergarten, and it's like, if I can teach these kids, how to stand in line, how to, start doing their letters, how to do, why not be able to teach them how to be a hard worker, right? They learn, these kids are like sponges. But I also know too, with this sport, you also have to keep it fun for kids. But you can instill in their mindsets that hard work, and 5 push-ups extra a night, right? Over a year, that's over 1,000 push-ups extra that they did, little things like that. But at the end of the day, for these young kids, it's keeping it fun also, and those things that really keep the kids coming back at a young age with one of the toughest sports.
Yeah, do you think it can go on the opposite end too far? Because I watched a long time ago on Flow Kerry Colat's biography, and Colat said on there, with all he accomplished, 4-time state, 2-time national, silver medalist in the Olympics, that his career was a failure because he didn't win gold at the Olympics. He
Yeah,
considered it a failure.
yeah. I think that's a little, crazy talk. Looking back, he's a head coach now. That we actually have one of our assistants coaching at Navy, and looking back, he gets to do what he loves every day. So, you say that in person, but at the end of the day, I know he's proud of reaching his goals of
Yeah.
where he's
Mhm.
at now. But yeah, there's very intense people like that, and for me, for the longest time, second was a failure for me. It wasn't good enough. But that's what drives me to go to Kent State and become a two-time All-American. Didn't win a national title. Now it drives me to coach my first national champ. And we are close in 2021. And what motivates me every day is to get that first national champ in Rider wrestling history. So, yeah, I mean, failures motivate people, right? I,
Mhm.
if losing don't motivate you, I don't know what will in sports and in life, right? I always tell our guys, wrestling is tough, very tough, but life is way tougher. You deal with things that you can't even imagine, especially when you get older.
The
And
other
kids.
thing, the other thing I'll bring up is Colad again. I want to see what your thoughts are. He actually doesn't think kids should go out so young. He was
Uh
he went out, his dad made him go out when he was 4, and he said that too many kids, not him personally, but too
yeah,
many kids burn out before they get to high school.
I agree with that. And like I said, back to being out. My son, he's wrestled the past 2 years, and we go to practice twice a week for 3 months. And I see other parents, and they're trying to go to clubs. They're going two's not good enough. Even my wife's like, we gotta take them more. And I was like, at this age, those trophies don't mean nothing. I mean, I think my mom threw all away my trophies. I can't even tell you. They just collected dust in the basement over time. But you know, I think keeping it fun is very important to keep kids coming back and not pushing them, because burnout happens a lot. I mean, I've seen it firsthand recruiting teammates of mine in college and friends of mine in high school. We're really, really good. And at the end of the day, there's only 1% of Division One or high school kids that go on to wrestle Division One.
Right.
So if you think of the numbers, 1% is insane. So it is a burnout sport, and I think the focus on keeping kids wrestling longer in their careers is, making it more fun, and you don't have to go 7 days a week, when you're 8 or 9 years old.
Um, I'm going to deviate, give you a college question.
Yeah.
Uh, now that the scholarships have gone from 9.9 to 30, up to 30, is it tougher to recruit? Because, you got teams like Penn State and Oklahoma State that are just stockpiling kids.
Yeah, and now with the NIL, it's getting insane. But a lot of schools, um, it lets you go to 9.9, but there's so many schools out there that or go up to 30 that there's teams like Northwestern and Wisconsin that got scholarships cut because it's not mandatory that you can go up to 30, but it's up to the university and the
Right.
athletic director. There's a lot of Big Ten schools that we are 9.9 at Rider. We're not going past 30. We are opting in, but there's Big Ten schools that we have more scholarships than.
Do you have
So I
NIL
mean,
money?
no NIL money yet. This is our first year opting in, so I think we're gonna hopefully get a share. But at the end of the day, it's up to the athletic director and the president of the university. And all these sports, the main sports of basketball and football, they're investing in all their NIL money to those players.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The good thing is we don't have football at Rider, but I think it just came out that Iowa State is getting $1 million of revenue share for the wrestling team. It's either Iowa State or Iowa. And, you know, So to me, that's what makes coaching special for at a school like Rider is we're getting all Americans and we're not giving kids NIL money.
Right.
We're just the basic, 9.9 scholarships of guys that bought in for working hard and doing the right things. And we actually
Because
lost our heavyweight, so Arizona State for NIL money this year. We lost our 84 pounder to Iowa State for NIL money, and we also lost our 57 pounder he went to Virginia. So looking at that, it's like, hey, these big schools are coming, taking these kids from Rider and paying them, and to me that shows, hey, coaching is we're doing our jobs as coaches if these big schools want our guys.
absolutely.
Definitely.
It's just I know Pennsylvania fans, they love that Penn State is so good. But it's really becoming unfair though. You look, if they already got Duke and Blaze coming in and Ono from Japan. If they can flip and get Bassett to come, it is like completely unfair to everybody else.
It is, but our mindset is, for us is like, hey, we can compete with these guys. It's like when your parents or your coaches tell you as a little kid, wrestling is a sport, anything can happen. You're right. So everyone works hard at this level. 1% of kids go on, anything can happen at the NCAA tournament, and you see it all the time, right? You see a guy like Spencer Lee get beat in the semifinals. You see a guy like, what were some of the big upsets this year? I'm trying to think.
Gable Steveson.
Right? Gable, he dominated Wyatt Hendrickson, over the years, and he loses in the NCAA final. So, our old head coach, Gary Taylor, he passed away, I think 5 years ago. He said, when you come to Rider, it's like David faced Goliath, and you can sit there and make excuses and say, well, they have this, they have that, or you just, that's what keeps you going and motivates you to be better. And we actually had Penn State, I think it was 3 years ago, they came to Rider. We sold out, the venue we had it in at Rider, and we lost. We won 1 or 2 matches, I forget, but our 97 pounder, Ethan Laird, General McLean,
yes,
he beat the number 1 guy in the country, returning NCAA champ Max Dean, and it was like, wow, this kid was a state runner-up, never placed in the country at the time, and he just took out the defending national champ, Penn State, and it's like, hey, it doesn't matter. We train just as hard. He does the right things, so it can happen.
Oh yeah, I remember him up at covering him, watching him up at regionals, and it really shocked me. It really did, and I shouldn't have been, because if you don't know a kid's mind, but he was better than I thought he would be in college.
Yeah, he was. He didn't even. I think we offered him a full scholarship before he even placed in his senior year, and he came to Rider and made the NCAA semifinals his senior year, and it's pretty special. So that's the things we do at Rider, and we get a lot of transfers in that don't make it. We had a transfer from Ohio State, didn't make it there, came and became an All-American for us. Our recent All-American this year was at Rutgers and Oklahoma State. Didn't make it at either school, came to us and placed 7th in the country this year at 149. So to me, that's special, giving kids, a second opportunity, sometimes third, to achieve their goals. And these, you see these kids at Penn State, it's you get the number 1 recruits year in and year out in your lineup, or you take a kid that, has never maybe placed in the state tournament one time and you make him All-American. You sit back as a coach and it's like, I think to me, that's harder to do. And, make a guy, take him at such a high level and become an All-American. Or, hey, this guy was the 4-time state champ, undefeated, and you got to make him a national champ. It's like, coaching is, it's different coaching philosophies too. People are dealt with different situations, and what Kale's doing at Penn State is amazing. Don't get me wrong, but everyone's coming for him. And I don't, you guys
Yeah.
seen the news?
Mhm.
There's a lot of Penn State wrestlers in the news, not in a good way right now.
No, I know that.
Yeah.
And
So
I think that's, you realize that's going to happen, I guess. And it's, the thing is, with them, you'll see it. They're getting so bunched up with talent. Kids are going to
yeah.
leave.
Oh yeah, kids are gonna leave, and when you're on top, everyone's looking to take you down. If it's not on the mat, there's other things, and people make mistakes all the time. But when you're one of the best teams in the country the past 10 years, it's going to be everywhere on the news and social
Yep.
media, especially in today's world. So
Yeah, it's
overall, Cale Sanderson does a great job, and he's he changed the game of the college wrestling world.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. No, you have. I was telling Kenny, excuse me. I was telling Kenny though, it is ridiculous the way it is right now. And I mean, I'm a Penn State fan, but I was telling Kenny before we got on, the U23 World Team, seven of
Yeah,
the 7 of the 10 kids are Penn State.
yeah, I just saw that post today.
7 of
7
the
of the guys.
10.
Yeah, it's amazing. It really is. But back to my point is these guys, they're getting. You look at their lineup and you go through it, and it's like, what was he ranked in high school in the country? And all these guys in their lineup are the 1 or 2 guys in the country coming out of high school, right? Where you come to a school like Rider, we're getting the guys maybe ranked 200th and making them an All-American, and that's for us. That's showing, hey, you don't have to go to the Big Ten, right? Everyone's different, and a lot of these kids, they come from small high schools, then they go to a big university and they're overwhelmed, or they get in trouble because there's a lot more opportunities for trouble. But a school like Rider is very small, less than 5,000 students. The opportunities of, to stay out of trouble are definitely, in our favor. But just because you know, want to be the best doesn't show you have to go to Penn State. But they are doing an amazing job, and that's what we're competing against, at this level. And they set the standard, and everyone's going after them to dethrone Penn State. And like I said, when you're on top all these years, everyone's coming for you. Everyone hates you, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you got to respect it, right?
Right. Now, you got different people doing different things. Penn State
Yep.
with recruiting and the NIL, mostly Iowa's transfer portal now. Almost
Yeah.
every kid they get now comes through the portal.
Yeah, they're buying kids, paying kids more than, pretty much some of these kids getting paid coming in are getting more than what we have to offer with our whole, operating budget at Ryder. So
It's crazy, isn't it?
Mhm.
I don't know if
and
you
one of the
read that.
kids. Yeah, no, I'm in all of
Sonnen,
it.
the MMA guy and wrestler.
Yep. Chael
Sonnen,
whatever his name. Yep.
offered Bassett $3 million to stay at Iowa,
Wow. Yeah.
and he wouldn't do it.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. I think through the grapevine, I think he wanted to do something, and he wanted the brands to bend the rules a little bit for them, and brands told him that's not how we do it here, and if you don't like it, go somewhere else. And that's something we preach to our guys. No one's bigger than the program, right? At the end of the day, Rider Wrestling will exist if I'm not there, or if our head coach isn't there, or if you guys go somewhere else. It's going to still exist, and these kids got to understand that. Like, you're coming in to a program, there's roles, right? We all have.
No, don't say that, Nick. You got to go. Nick, you got to go. Hey, I am Ryder, buddy. When a new recruit comes in, you know who I am? I am Ryder. Bedelyon trained shirt, buddy.
Yep, No, and that's how it is. And I'm very passionate. You've been a place. There's people that haven't been in a career for 5 years, let alone going on 14. So this place is home to me, and my wife and raised my kids here. So it's definitely home. And I had the opportunity to go out to my alma mater it was a month ago, to interview for the head coaching job. And
Oh, wow.
at the end of the day, they went with Josh Moore, but I think it was a sign for me that this is where I'm supposed to be, and that's how I'm going with it.
So how's the recruiting going so far for Ryder?
Doing really well. We got a bunch of transfers coming in.
Oh, yeah?
Nice.
Yeah, when the portal came and we had 4 or 5 guys get poached for money, it was like,
might as well poach.
We don't have guys that are ready to step up. Young guys, they need time to develop, especially the recruits we're getting. So there's a portal window. You have to be in. You can go in right after NCAAs. I think it's like March 25th. You get to go in, and it closes May 2nd. So if you're in that portal, we can reach out to kids. And we ended up getting a national qualifier at 141 from Cal Baptist. We got a Ohio State transfer heavyweight. We got a Little Rock kid at 165. And we got one more Cleveland State kid at 149. So we did really well with the portal, with what we got thrown at us, right? Like I said before, you could sit there and complain, and this isn't fair because we got guys taken from us for money, or you go out and you replace them. Like I said, everyone's replaceable in today's world.
When they first did the change over to the transfer portal and this NIL, how long did it take for you guys to transition over and get comfortable with it?
Well, the first year it happened, it was very slow, which was so in 2024, it was really slow. We didn't have any guys go to the portal. So this year in 2025, it was like, wow, they're really, programs were getting money now to play with. And we had kids getting reached out to in December.
Wow.
So it made it really tough. And that's not even legal. But everyone knows someone that was reaching out to our guys. And at the end of the day, it's what's happening isn't illegal, but you're having your friend reach out to. It happened at Iowa. A couple Iowa guys, kids on staff were reaching out. They're all on these teams together from, maybe a world team, or they went to Fargo in high school with. They're reaching out to kids in social media and saying, hey, come to Iowa, or come here, or come to Arizona State. We'll get you paid. And kids today, you offer a kid in college $100,000, they're going.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's, and it took for me for a while to be like, wow, there's no such thing as loyalty. But I understand too, these kids, you get $100,000, you're 19, 20 years old in your pocket. It's tough to turn down. And I try to put myself in their shoes and see what I would have done. But, everyone can say, yeah, I would have, or no way I wouldn't have. But until that time came, you can't really make that up until it happened.
Yeah, and then you got guys like Cooper Flagg with endorsements and NIL. I read this in the Athletic. He made $28 million his freshman year at Duke.
Yeah, that's insane. And that's the thing is,
$28 million.
It's insane. We think it's bad in wrestling. It's way worse in football and basketball.
Yeah.
And these kids, they make more money staying in college than going, for the rookie year of the NBA.
Yeah.
Or things like that. So it's like, I remember Caitlin Clark. Why wouldn't she do another year at Iowa when she's getting paid whatever she was and make league minimum, starting out in the, women's NBA? It makes perfect sense.
So it was fun talking about that. I want to get back to the camp because I want to promote this for you. we ask about the kids. For the parents of the wrestlers attending, what's the
Yep.
most important role they can play in their kids' athletic development?
I mean, I'm still a young dad figuring out, but I think for me as a college coach, the best kids that come through our program the past 13 years, they separate, from being a dad and trying to be the kid's coach or their mom. So for me is, hey, these are your kids, they're everything. I understand, but be their parent, be whatever you are to them and support them, but let the coach and you be their parent, right?
Right.
And I
Hmm.
think a lot of parents try to you know be their coach too, or they know more than their coach, and it's like, these a lot of these coaches, especially in the high school and the youth, they volunteer their time, so it's, or they're getting paid, a few thousand here and there, so it's like these guys are giving up their evenings, they're giving up their mornings or their weekends to come be with your kids. And I think you got to sit back and understand, hey, I'm the parent. I'm going to be the best parent I can be for my kid and support them no matter what. But let the coaches, do the coaching.
Awesome. If this is a tricky one, a tough one, but if a wrestler come into your camp could only
Yep.
take one lesson away from it, what would it be? What do you want to? What do you want that one lesson to be?
The one lesson for that would be to, no matter where you're from, or a small town like Lewistown, or wherever, you can dream big and work very hard. Anything, when you put the work in, I tell the guys all the time, you work hard and you look back on your career and you know that you gave everything you've had to whatever it is that you committed to, if it's basketball, if it's football, if it's baseball, or if it's wrestling. But if you gave everything you had and you had a good attitude every day, you could go to practice and do the extras, whatever it is. But I think doing everything right and committing 100%, looking back in 30 years, if you're in a bar in Lewistown, I think you won't have any regrets sitting around drinking a beer with your friend. But the biggest regret is, these kids, I see it with my college guys. They'll come back in 5 years to the golf outing or to a match, and they're like, "Wow, I should have listened more to you. You were right. Like we were living the dream in college, and we had the world. We had it all right there. And a lot of kids take advantage, or they do things they're not supposed to do, and kind of piss it away. And for me, is telling these kids to stay on the right path, surround yourself with good people, like-minded people that are chasing their dreams and working hard towards them. But at the end of the day, it's all about working hard. It really is. My wife, she's in the corporate business, and she can come home and complain to me, but that doesn't fix anything. And I tell her, if you want to be the best sales, you got to outwork everyone, and that's what it comes down to. There's no secret. You look at a guy like Tom Brady. Tom Brady, 40 years old in the NFL. That wasn't luck. He had to outwork everyone, and you get an opportunity and you got to be ready for it. But the more prepared you are for opportunities, the good things happen.
Well said.
Nice.
Do you plan on if depending on how this turns out, do you plan on maybe making this a recurring event in Mifflin County to have the camp?
Yeah, I would love to, and I would love to come back more. With having kids, my mom and dad live in the area, so my kids get to visit their grandparents, and I get to see one of my longtime high school friends, and my brother's in the area, so I get to see a lot of people that I haven't been around, much. So it's always nice coming back to visit, and you know, I never forget where I came from and the opportunities that Lewistown and Indian Valley, whatever it was, that small town in Mifflin County, the opportunities it gave me. So I know how important it is to give back.
Awesome.
And I'm sorry, Kenny, did you have something?
I just said awesome.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to ask a question. So once again, the camp is July 12th. We'll put that up again.
Yep, July 12th, Saturday, and 9 a.m. drop off, and pick your kids up at 3:30. And my goal is to teach them as much wrestling as I can, have a lot of fun, and be a fan of become a fan of Rider wrestling, and hey, one day I might wrestle at Rider. To give kids that opportunity, goes a long ways.
You bet.
Right?
You bet.
Definitely.
And you have a former Penn State wrestler at Rider.
Yeah.
Will Betancourt.
Will Betancourt. Yeah, he's coming back for his 5th year. He was going to graduate, but he told us he didn't achieve his goals, and he's bought in for his senior year to give it everything he has. And he was a PA State champ. He's been to Penn State. He's been to Ohio State, and things didn't work out, and now we're giving him an opportunity at Rider.
Yeah, and he's been in our Husky gym. I covered him. His team, Mannheim, was up here for the Husky Dolls a long time ago.
Do they still do the Husky Dolls?
No, they don't. Not anymore.
Someone was telling me. I don't remember the last time, but someone recently was just asking me about the Husky Dolls, and I was like, I don't remember them doing those lately.
No, they do now. They have like this little Mid-Penn Commonwealth tournament where it's them, Gettysburg, Chambersburg, and State College. But they don't wrestle State because they get them in another dole meet. They wrestle Chambersburg and Gettysburg.
Yeah, no, and Mifflin County is still really tough. They're sending guys to states every year, and but I think they have a good young group of young kids coming up. I see these results. Like I said, my best friend is helping coach, and he's taking guys to the state tournaments, the youth states, and they're going all over to compete and doing very well as a little team from Mifflin County.
Yeah, and the great thing is, after years of being down, District 6 AAA is actually starting to get good again. Yeah, Mifflin County Central Mountain's always been good, but now Altoona won the district championship last year, and now get ready for State College. My God, they got some kids. They got some kids coming up. Restivo was a PJW champion, world champion, and you got Sanderson's kid Teague.
And you got Casey Cunningham. I think his son has another year, his kid. So, well, when you build a program like Penn State, it won't surprise me in years. These parents, they start to move out in this area, and then their kids are in State College, and then they're getting recruited right in their backyard to Penn State. So that's going to be a new thing probably going on, and it probably already is at this point.
Yeah, and Mike Maney's turning things around at Bellefonte.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yep. I mean, I don't know how much. I know Kirby does a great job if he wants to keep going for a long time, or but whenever his time is done, we need someone really good to step up in that program and take over. And
if he
Kirby keeps going,
if he wants it, I know who would take Kirby's place.
You
know him very well. Your brother.
Yeah, I always tell him if everything had. The problem is my brother has he has 2 girls, so that takes away some family time. But my brother does love helping coach, and whoever takes over in the future, with you saying District 6, they got their hands full, and I know they'll get it done because we got a good group of kids coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I appreciate it. This has been one of my all-time one of my all-time favorite interviews because
Nah, I appreciate you guys.
I'm a wrestling nut. Everybody knows that. And this is my first real long interview with you. So I was thrilled.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a lot of stories that, you know, most of them probably have to be off air with some of the things happening in college wrestling with the tampering and, you know, all these NIL rules and stuff. But now it's been great coming on and talking with you guys. And I appreciate you guys, you know, Brian and Kenny for having me. And, you know, maybe we can get back on again. You guys let me know. And
absolutely.
We can get
Definitely.
back again.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. I love that. And
Yep.
hey, good luck with your camp. And
Yes.
I'm waiting to see coming up in New Jersey, if you're still there, we have a new generation of Bedelyon wrestling.
Yep, 100%.
But just remember, it's tougher because there's only one class in Jersey.
Yep.
You know that.
My head coach and I are both from Pennsylvania, so we always joke our roster's, you know, 95% Jersey, but we always tell him Pennsylvania's tougher because he was a Quakertown state champ and I was from
John
the
Henge.
Valley. So.
John Henge, right?
Yep, Coach Hangie.
I'm sorry.
Yep, but yeah, Quakertown state champ in the 90s, early 90s.
Yes.
Maybe 89, I forget. But yeah, he was right around Joe Dalbert's time. But yeah, we tell him Pennsylvania is the best wrestling state.
It is.
100%.
There's no doubt.
100%.
There's no doubt.
Yep, and it's going to continue. But Jersey is a close second, in my opinion.
Yeah, they got a kid I really like in there, Sonny Amato.
Yep. He's a North Jersey guy. He's already getting recruited by all the big names. So I'm sure he'll be at a big school, and maybe I'll have the opportunity if he ever gets homesick or wants to come
get
back.
Get him at Ryder. Yeah, get him at Ryder.
Get him at Ryder. Yep. That's always the plan. Get the rebound. Get guys on the rebound. Give them a second chance at, you know, a goal or a dream they had since they were a little kid.
Hey, but definitely come back. We would love to have you back.
Definitely.
Yeah, we'll make it. I'll make it back on the press box, right?
Yes. Sounds good, my friend. Thank you so much for coming on.
Brian, thanks, Kenny. Nick. You guys have a great night, and it was great talking with you guys.
You too.
Yeah, I always got to give our thumbs up. Ed Stewart, thank you, Ed. Rich Lockett,
Ed's the man.
Yes, he is.
Ed's the man. Ed's worked at my mom and my grandfather. Ed's a great person, and you know I'm friends with him on Facebook, so he always keeps up, and you know he's a great person.
He's a regular viewer of ours.
Yeah,
great guy.
Well, hope all is well, Ed.
Rich Lockett, Braden Treaster, and we got a heart from Chuck Curry. I know you know Chuck.
Chuck Curry's the man. I love Chuck Curry. I've been with his son through. We were the IV of Lewistown original battles, you know, with Chad.
Yeah.
At Lewistown. So I was an enemy in high school, but everyone's close now. It's a great community, and if one thing could change, I wish we could go back and be Mifflin County and combine, you know, and see what would have happened. But those are the what ifs, right?
Those are big what ifs, and it would have been great. I mean, I even go back farther. I said, could you see if this was Mifflin County during the Heller, Copenhagen, Chief Logan years, and Kenny Weitzel at Lewistown?
Yeah.
That God,
amazing, right?
My God.
Yeah, it would have been awesome. But I got to be on teams with all those guys. We were friends in the summer and still keep in touch. And when I go home and see them, it's like the stories we have are pretty cool.
Awesome. Thank you, Nick. Again, enjoy Florida for as long as you're there. And
thank you, guys. Enjoy it. Have a great July 4th weekend, and hopefully we talk soon.
Same to you.
You too as well.
Take care,
buddy. Brian. See you, Kenny.
Thanks.
Have a good night.
See you, Nick. You too.
See you guys.
See ya.
Yeah.
See ya.
That is the great Nic Bedelyon. head coach, I mean, assistant coach, sorry, at Ryder and former Mifflin County Indian Valley standout. That was fun, Kenny.
It was great to get him on.
And we got to show off Nick with our new graphics behind us.
Yeah.
Ooh, the flowing. Ooh,
Yep.
we're getting more money, I guess. You and I are getting more NIL money
Yeah, we're getting raises.
to spruce it up.
Hmm.
So I'm sure you've been doing Little League. Do you have any shout outs or scores you'd like to share?
Yes, I'm well prepared this week.
All right, we got to
uh,
do the music.
Alrighty.
All right, we've got shout outs from Kenny
Okay.
Varner.
All right. We're gonna start off with a sport that we have not talked about. I want to say a shout out to Delaney Badger. She's a senior at Bellefonte Area High School. She brought home top honors from the Interscholastic Equestrian Western Finals held at Fort Worth, Texas, June 22nd to 23rd. She was competing at the renowned Will Rogers Equestrian Center in conjunction with the American Paint Horse Association World Championship show. So, congratulations, Delaney. It was great to have an equestrian rider on
Yeah,
the shout outs for a change.
I rode a horse one time and it threw me off.
Oh, geez.
I was scared actually. I was a younger man then and it threw me
Uh,
off. I guess maybe the horse sensed I was chicken shit.
I never rode a horse, but I did do donkey basketball one year when I was in the Air Force. Um, and Yeah, I got thrown off because I went to shoot and the donkey moved and fell on flat on my back. So that might explain after I hit my head, that explains quite a bit about me, maybe.
Ah,
So uh, Next shout out is to a team from Bellefonte, the Governor's Baseball Club. They participated in the 14U Backyard Baseball Classic in Cooperstown, New York.
oh,
Uh, the
nice.
the team finished with a record of 3-1, and they finished a 3-1 victory on Doubleday Field on Saturday, June 28th. So that's the hallowed ground for youth travel ball to compete up there. So great job, group. Um, and I don't know if they're still playing this season, but if you are, good luck the rest of the season. Now we're going down to the Little League, starting off with the State College 12-year-old All Stars in softball. They continued their torrid pace through the District 5 All Star. Oh, I'm sorry, baseball. There's so many that are so close. The five-star baseball district dropping Penns Valley the other night, 13-4. So congratulations, State College, on a win, and it's looking like they're setting up for a game Saturday in the championship against Bellefonte. So Bellefonte or the Penns Valley winner that's being played tonight.
Ah,
So a big, huge shout out for some locals. The Mifflin County 10-year All Stars uh, made history, winning the first District 5 title since 2019. They beat State College, and it was an 11-1 victory. And they got the D5 10U crown with that win. So they have a hurler, real pitcher to keep an eye on in the years to come. Riley Pulley. She started out the tournament throwing two no hitters, and then a two hitter, I believe. And then in the final,
nice.
she only allowed 4 hits, I believe. But she's also strong with the strikeouts, double digits in 3 of the 4, I believe. So congratulations.
Nice. Yeah, congrats.
Okay, now we're going to go to the 12-year-old softball. They also they've actually punched their ticket to the regionals, and actually they won yesterday in regional competition against Huntington, and we'll look again, I guess, tomorrow in the second round. So congratulations to all, and if I omitted anybody that was playing, I apologize. It's kind of hard to keep up when you got so many different age groups and so many different softball, baseball, Cal Ripken Little League.
Oh
it,
yeah,
it
it's a
just
lot.
expands. Yeah, it grows. So it's good to see so many kids out for sports like that, and to try to keep up with them is probably just as exhausting as playing in them. So, but anyway, congratulations to all, and that's my shout outs for today.
I got one.
Okay.
I know we've talked about him a lot, but I give a shout out to Carter Smith.
Oh yeah,
What
yes.
the Gatorade Player of the Year in Pennsylvania in boys track and field.
Mm-hmm.
Who ever expected that from Lewistown? And what a year the kid had, starting back in September of 2024. Class AAA cross country state champion, indoor 800 champion in the winter, and then in the spring, the 800, 1600, and then the New Balance national championship.
Yes.
Just an incredible year, a 401 mile. Just amazing, amazing runner.
Yeah, it would be a great debate. Who is the better athlete, Trent Hidley or Carter, with as many accolades as both those have?
Yes.
And to have two people like in our area, from our area, to do stuff like that, it's just amazing.
I don't want to get anybody mad at me, but I know who my choice would be. Because it really is. Nick was right. Wrestling is the toughest sport in the world.
Oh yeah. Oh, I agree with that. But
And
I mean,
I wasn't a fantastic athlete, but I played football and wrestling in high school, and I guarantee you, that 6-minute match in high school takes more out of you than an entire football game. It does.
Mm-hmm.
And to be good at it, you have to really be. I mean, honestly, just look at Trent now.
Mm-hmm.
Look at him, how his body looks. I mean, it's like he's chiseled out of rock.
Mm-hmm.
I could still take him though.
But it's just nice to be able to say that you could have a discussion like that. Yeah.
I will say this. I think Hidley's the better athlete because of the sport.
Mm-hmm.
But Carter Smith is accomplishing things that we'll never see again.
Exactly.
Not in our lifetimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Because if he runs the circle next year, if he does it again, every event, that would be 9 state championships and 2 national championships. It's never been done in this area, and I'll never say never, but it probably will never happen again.
It won't in my lifetime, I can tell you that.
No, I know that.
Yeah.
Not in mine either.
But yeah, they and not only that, but they're good role models.
Did you just watch his kick? Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
At New Balance and at States, all of a sudden he just goes and everybody's in the dust. And he doesn't even look tired. He must have lungs like a frickin' a blowfish. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, and the mental aspect of that too, to be that mentally tough, to know your body and to know when you could kick that to the next gear.
Because that's what he does. He stays back there.
Mm-hmm.
with the pack, and then all of a sudden, the last lap, the 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 bell rings, and boom, there he goes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy. I mean, New Balance, he ran 4:01 again, and the record at nationals for his age group is 3:59.
Holy crap!
So he's close.
Very close.
And that was, if you remember, Drew Griffith of Butler not too long ago.
It sounds familiar.
Cross country state champ, 1600 state champ. Yeah.
Mm.
I think he was back like 2017.
Okay.
So he's in elite company.
Do you think this is like I know we've had, great athletes, through the years in Mifflin County, but do you think this might be like the golden age for
Yes,
local sports?
without a doubt, because back then we had guys that did it on a state level and all that stuff. This here,
Mhm.
You start with Trent. You got
Mhm.
Carter Smith, uh,
Kylie Cubison.
Cubison,
still-
Ciccolini. These guys are doing it now. I mean, my God, like Nick said tonight, Hively made the world team.
Mhm.
The world.
Mhm.
I mean, if everything goes right, he has a chance of coming home and being a world champion. Come on.
I tell you what, there better be a huge parade.
Yeah,
I'm
forget
talking
the,
like,
forget the fire trucks.
all right,
If he comes back with the world championship, give him a throne and make him king of Mifflin County.
pretty much, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. No doubt. It's a golden year for sports, period, in Mifflin County. I mean, we've had great athletes in the past, but not at the national and world level like we're getting now.
Right.
I mean, you know that. I don't have to tell you. Carter Smith is going to have his choice of colleges.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he doesn't have to go to I'm going to go to Clarion, or no offense against Clarion.
Mhm.
Guy's going to be offered from the top programs, like right in Pennsylvania. One of the top programs for track and cross country is Villanova.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying he's going to go there, but if he wants to stay close to home, I mean, no offense to them, but Penn State sucks.
Yeah, it's
In
not one of
track,
their stronger. Yeah.
no, in track and cross country, Villanova is a power. But now he could go to Arkansas, Oregon. I mean, the big powerhouses.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how far he wants to venture away from home.
Yeah. But it's nice to be able to have him be able to make the decisions, you know what I mean, and not be pushed to go to one certain school or not have the opportunity. He could pick wherever he wants to go.
Right. The only thing that pisses me off that I'm upset about with Trent is I wanted him to be a national champ so bad, and he could have done it if Aaron Brooks wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
Brooks is just, they're special, like Hidley. Then there's extra special, and that's Brooks. That's Brooks.
Yeah. But here again, it's kind of like what we were talking about with Nick. He lost to the two-time Oklahoma national champion, Oklahoma State.
And he was a 3-time state champ, Jordan Oliver. And he was actually a world silver medalist.
Wow.
Yeah, he lost to one of the best wrestlers ever to come out of PA. Because Oliver won 3 state titles, and his freshman year he was 3rd. Then at Oklahoma State, he was a 2-time national champion and a national runner-up.
Wow.
Yeah, he was good. So yeah, Nic didn't lose to a slouch.
I don't know about you, but when he said he was there 13 years coaching, I didn't think it was that long, and I felt very old after he said that.
I definitely felt old after that. I definitely did.
Mm.
But yeah, 13 years. I'll tell you, I was so interesting. I want to get him back on because I wanted to promote his camp, but I want to talk more about college wrestling and how these smaller schools, how difficult it is to compete with Penn State, Oklahoma State, Iowa, who have all these scholarships and all that NIL money. You heard that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're giving Kale, if he wants, up to 30 scholarships and all this NIL money, and there's poor Ryder with only 9.9. How are you going to compete?
Yeah.
You got to do what they're doing right now. They've realized it. We got to go to the transfer portal too.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's always going to be kids that are unhappy or they were good wrestlers in high school, but they can't beat out the kid that's ahead of them in college, and they'll want to leave.
Mm-hmm.
But don't get me wrong, I'm a Penn State fan, and I'm glad they're dominating because I hate Iowa. Hate them. But it's getting to be unfair. If they flip Bassett, here's why it's a big deal. Because we know how good Bassett is, right?
Right.
152-0, never been beaten in high school. Bassett, the top recruit in the 2027 class is Melvin Miller of Bishop McCord, number 1 in the country. That is Bo Bassett's adopted brother.
Oh.
And if Bassett goes to Penn State, guess where Miller's going?
Right along with them.
Right along with them.
Mm-hmm.
And then his younger brother, Keegan Bassett, will come if Penn State wants him.
Mm-hmm.
Really, there might not be any. He'd sign, but I don't know if he'd make the starting lineup. We're going to be so good. There is going to be Penn State guys, like I said to Nic, that are going to leave, who are damn good wrestlers. Damn good wrestlers. They already had one. Zach Ryder went to Oklahoma State.
Oh, wow.
Because there was no room for him at Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
And he was one of the top kids in the country in high school. Like right now, you know Tyler Kasich.
Mm-hmm.
He finished 3rd in the country the last 2 years in a row. He's a junior. Coming in this year is PJ Duke, a freshman. Kasich will not beat him. So unless they decide to redshirt Duke, Kasich could be out of there.
Wow.
PJ Duke's on the world team. And he's an 18-year-old high school kid.
Jeez.
Yeah. Number 1 recruit in the class of 26. Right here. Penn State. Wow. Number 2 recruit, Marcus Blaze, in the class of 26. Going to Penn State. Number 5 recruit in the class of 2026, William Henkel, Penn State. See?
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Jaden James, who's 3rd in the country in 27 going. And if we get Bassett, who's number 2 in the class of 2026. I'm sorry, Duke was number 1 in the class of 2025 coming in this year. Bassett's number 2 in the class of 2026. We get him along with Jaden James, who's 3rd. And then at 27 will be Melvin Miller. They're going to be good and national champs for many, many freaking years to come.
A dynasty like never seen before.
Right. This hasn't been seen except for Iowa. And Kale's going to pass Gable. Because Iowa wasn't even this dominant. I wrote a column about the Steelers.
It's a tragedy, right?
I said that they think Aaron Rodgers is going to be the guy to take him to the promised land, and it could backfire real easily.
It started to already, don't you think?
Because I think he's an old man. I think the Jets thing, I know they're a bad team, but I think he's not the same quarterback. And anybody that thinks he is insane.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing. The Jets were horrible. The Steelers' line is horrible. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
What's he going to do? And then I think, honestly, Jalen Ramsey's going to be a Hall of Famer, but he's 32 years old. And you get rid of a guy, Minkah Fitzpatrick, who's younger
and
an all-pro.
Well, that's where I said that it started already, because a couple weeks ago, or right when they were waiting for Aaron Rodgers to come, Minkah said some things about not caring if he come,
Yeah.
And I think this is what you'll see, and I believe that Watt will be, it wouldn't surprise me if they trade him too as well.
Oh, I know, because he definitely is going to want the money, and I don't blame him.
No, not at all.
But, and then they cannibalized themselves at tight end. Okay, Johnny Smith had a great year, but Pittsburgh has a damn good tight end in Pat Freiermuth.
Yeah.
Unless they're going to run 2 tight end offense, I don't see the need for Jonnu Smith, who's also 32. So they're getting older, not younger.
Yeah. Right.
I was so thankful that the Steelers got him.
Really?
Yeah, because it came down to him going back to the Rams. And I'm like, oh my God, please don't give up your fortune. Give up everything just for a frickin' 32-year-old corner. Because the Steelers gave him a frickin' raise.
Yeah.
$26.5 million a year.
Yeah, they're spending
for a 32-year-old corner.
And the thing is, they're spending all this money on people they're bringing in, and then they've got Watt sitting over there saying, "Okay, guys, where's mine? You're bringing in all these guys.
Yeah,
where's my money?"
I did not want to trade our youth away for an old man. And I was praying to God the Rams didn't do it, and they didn't. Yay. But we were talking about this. Thank you, Nick. Nic Bedelyon gave us a love.
Oh, nice.
We love you too, Nick.
Yep.
Go Ryder. No, that's pretty cool. I hope kids do go to this.
Yes.
How many times does Mifflin County get a chance to have a 2-time All-American and a college coach for 13 years come and teach them stuff?
You hardly hear of it ever.
Yeah, get out there and go. If you're a parent, get your kid there.
Yes.
If you want them to be good, get there. I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, I do too.
The only thing I can't figure out, Kenny, is why he didn't ask you and I to help.
Me? I don't think so. You definitely, because you got the knowledge, man. I'm a
Yeah,
basketball player. I don't know a headlock from a knee
I
drop.
was I was gonna say something, but I don't know. I was gonna say, yeah, okay, Kenny. I might have the knowledge, but you have both of your legs.
Oh, ouch. Yeah.
I don't.
Oh. Mm,
It'd be pretty hard for me to go out and wrestle
mm, mm,
ever again
mm,
because I'm not Anthony Robles.
mm.
You know him, right?
Yeah.
Arizona State.
Yeah.
Won
They just made
won
a
a
movie of
national,
him.
yeah, won a national championship with only one leg.
Mm.
I'm not that tough. But hey, what's up coming up for you before we get out of here?
Oh, gonna continue covering Little League All Stars until that's completed. Then I'm gonna try to jump on the Babe Ruth. Their quest, their journeys. Try to get some coverage of that. Uh, just try to. It's crazy, but it's before you know it, high school season will be here. You know,
Yes,
it's.
I'm having fun with my Carson on sports. It gives me something to do.
Mm.
I write a columns twice a week, but I wanted to make it not just high school, it's pro, college, everything.
I'm glad to see you're back and in full go. It's great to see you doing what you love again.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. Thank you. I'm also doing a lot of like every Saturday. You know those editorials in the Sentinel.
Uh huh.
I've been writing them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, keeps me busy. Today I wrote one for her. I don't know when it's going to run on. The Diddy trial on domestic violence
Yeah, yeah.
and where to get help in Mifflin County.
Mm. Did you hear they had a verdict?
Yes, he was acquitted on two of the charges.
Yeah,
This goes to show you if you're a celebrity, you can get away with shit.
yeah.
But yeah, I've been writing them. I thought, Aaron, you sure you want me to write this? And she said, why? And because every day I beat the crap out of my wife. You know that's BS, right?
Right.
She's a, she's Italian. She sliced my throat. Thank you for coming, Nick. We want
Yeah,
you
thank you.
back. We want you
Definitely.
back, buddy.
Mm,
That was one of the most fun interviews I've ever had.
it was. It was. And it went quick too. I couldn't believe we were on there for an hour.
Yeah, well, it's because, look, he didn't hesitate or anything. He knows his stuff, for God's
Yeah.
sake.
Mm,
He he was so good. I remember, it takes me back. He said about taking him back. Boy, it takes me
hmm
back. You know, I knew the first time I saw him, it's like, wow, this kid's good. This kid is good.
hmm
Tyler was good too. He went to states, but I think Tyler would agree. His brother was a little bit better.
hmm
But they're both, you've talked to Tyler, they're both great
hmm
guys.
Oh yeah.
But,
I have
well,
a I have a shameless plug.
go plug it.
Okay, this Saturday, for everyone who's listening, um, my Burnham Bulldog special needs team is gonna be roughing the heat at Advanced Auto to do a. We're doing a car wash and bake sale. It's gonna be from 9 o'clock to 1. Um, so if you got some dirty cars, or You want to get some goodies. My wife's world famous peanut butter fudge. She's bringing that. So
Oh my God, you son of a!
yeah. So
I
stop by.
I love that, and I can't stop by.
Oh.
Why don't you run me some over, and I'll give you the money?
Oh, I think your wife would kill me for giving you that.
No, she wouldn't. She'd eat some of it too.
I might have to do that.
Damn right. Just let me know how much they are, and I'm there.
All right. So yeah, we're gonna be there. Anyone who wants to see me actually do something, some physical labor, come out too. So the all the funds raised go to getting jerseys for the kids this year. We're going back to the original blue and white, and whatever funds over top of the jerseys we'll use for the kids to uh, help in getting parties for them, and trophies at the end of the season. So again,
Cool.
that's Advanced Auto Saturday, um, car wash and bake sale, 9 to 1. So that's my shameless plug.
Awesome. How much for the car wash?
Donation only, whatever you
Oh,
feel.
okay, okay.
So
I'll send the wife over.
okay, and give her some complimentary fudge.
Awesome. Since you're doing it to get them jerseys and stuff, yeah, I'm all for it. I'll send her over.
Okay.
Car needs washed anyway. All right, buddy. Well, then, good luck with that.
No, thank you.
I am pretty much. I got nothing over the weekend. I got nothing. All right, then. Thank you, everybody, for sticking with us. We went another hour and a half, Kenny.
Hey, that's getting to be the norm, so I keep her going, right?
Yeah, why not? We have fun.
Exactly.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. That's going to do it for tonight. Have a great 4th of July.
Yep. Happy 4th of July, everybody.
And a great weekend. And for Kenny Varner, I'm Brian Carson, and we will see you next week. Take care.
Night, everybody.